So, Andy, since watching Yellowstone and the spin-offs, I've started watching a bunch of old cowboy movies. In fact, I was watching one last night.
Really? What was it about?
Well, a rough and tough cowboy finishes his drink at a bar and gets up to leave. A minute later, he comes back in saying with a mean look in his eye, "I'm going to sit down and have one more drink. And if my horse isn't back where I left it, I'm going to have to do what I done in Texas. And I really don't want to have to do what I done back in Texas." True to his word, he sits down, orders another drink, and quietly finishes it. He then gets up and walks outside, and sure enough, his horse is back tied up where he left it. As he's just about to ride off, one of the other patrons timidly asked, "Mister, what was it you had to do in Texas?" The cowboy gets a far-off look in his eyes and says sadly, "I had to walk home."
Okay, that was stupid.
You're listening to KIFG's special Valentine's Day show.
How did you manage to eat half the box of chocolates?
Just one more. I think this one's a caramel. Ow!
I told you to get your hand out of the box.
Hey, welcome back to the party on KIFG with Andy and Jay. Good music, good vibes. That's what we're all about. Hey, good day, mate.
Who do you think you are, Crocodile Dundee?
Yeah, I've been learning to speak Australian with Babbel.
You do realize that other than some slang, they also speak English.
Oh, that may explain why the course was so short. Okay, so if you're so smart and Australian, maybe you can answer a question for me. What do you call a boomerang that won't come back?
A stick.
Now, on today's show, we're featuring songs that you might find on a jukebox in a dive bar. But, Andy, before we get into that, I got to tell you about my wild night. I ended up at the hospital with my buddy Max. His wife went into labor.
How exciting.
Yeah, I mean, we were in the waiting room with 3 other pacing fathers when the nurse came through the door, went to the first guy and said, "Congratulations, you're the father of twins." The guy said, "That's odd. I work for the Minnesota Twins."
Wow, what a coincidence.
Yeah, but it got stranger. The nurse came through the door again and went to the second guy and said, "Congratulations, you're the father of triplets." Second guy said, "That's weird. I work for the 3M company." Then moments later, Andy, the nurse came through the door again and told the third man that he was the father of quadruplets, and you won't believe this, but the third guy says he works for the Four Seasons Hotel. I mean, I turned around to talk to Max about what had happened, but I saw him groaning and banging his head against the wall.
Why was he so upset?
He works for 7-Up. So, Andy, I was just thinking about our deer hunting adventure last weekend.
Yeah, it was the first time for both of us.
Yeah, and we managed to get a deer, and we were dragging it back to our truck when another hunter approached us, pulling his along too.
Yeah, the other hunter said, "Hey, I don't want to tell you how to do something, but if you drag your deer in the other direction, it will be a lot easier, and then the antlers won't dig into the ground." You know, he was pretty smart because it did make it a lot easier.
Oh, I didn't think he was that smart. We just kept getting farther from the truck. So, Andy, I don't know if I ever told you this before, but I lived with my grandpa and grandma in their later years.
I'd normally ask you what this has to do with the show and tell you to move on, but I've come to realize it's fruitless. So go ahead.
When my grandpa was lying in his bed dying, he smelled his favorite cookies. He rolled out of bed, crawled into the kitchen, and picked up a cookie with all his strength. But Grandma smacked his hands with a spatula and said, "What are you doing? Those are for the funeral." So, Andy, I could not help but notice that you've not been yourself this week. What's up?
Sorry. I had something weird happen on my trip to Chicago last week.
Oh, what happened?
Well, I was taking a taxi from the airport and tapped the driver on the shoulder to ask him a question. The driver screamed, lost control of the car, nearly hit a bus, went up on the footpath, and stopped inches from a shop window.
Wow, that had to be scary.
Yeah. For a second, everything was quiet in the cab. Then the driver said,
Look, mate, don't ever do that again. You scared the living daylights out of me.
So I apologized and said, I didn't realize that a little tap would scare you so much.
Sorry. It's not really your fault. Today is my first day as a cab driver. I've been driving a funeral van for the last 25 years. Oh, Andy, did I tell you about the wedding I went to last weekend?
Go ahead, he said against his better judgment.
Yeah, it was a beautiful wedding, but it didn't end well.
What happened?
So the couple's into cars. So the caterers had this giant wheel of cheese propped up on a table like a car tire. The table sat on top of this hill. Well, anyway, a group of us are at the bottom of the hill where the photographer is looking into his viewfinder, getting ready to take our picture. Now, Andy, this is where things take a turn for the worse. Someone accidentally bumped into the table, the cheese rolled off the table and down the hill and into the photographer, killing him.
That's horrible. Did you try to warn him?
Yes, we all yelled, cheese.
For once, I was engaged in the story, only to be disappointed again.
From 1984, that's Autograph. Turn up the radio. Hey, welcome back to the party on KIFG with Andy and Jay, where we bring you the hits every Friday. So, Andy, I finally got to see my doctor on Monday, and I showed him the rash on my bottom.
First off, ooh. So what did he say?
Oh, he just ignored me and kept pushing his cart through Costco.
So, Jay, are you doing anything special for Valentine's Day?
I don't think so. My wife is mad at me, and I'm really not sure why.
Well, you must have done or said something to make her mad.
I'm not sure what it would be. I took her to the mall earlier this week for kind of a fun Valentine outing.
Well, did anything happen there?
No, we had a lovely day. Now, we did get separated at one point, and she called my cell to ask where I was. I asked her if she remembered the jeweler we went into a few years back, the one where she fell in love with that diamond necklace that we couldn't afford, and I told her I would get for her one day. Well, she choked up and started to cry and said yes, she did remember that shop. I told her that I was in the bar next door. Coming up next on the party, we've got the...
So, guys, I don't want to bring the show down, but I've had this question. I've been obsessing over the last few days.
What's the question, Andy?
When you're in your casket and family friends are mourning you, what would you like them to say about you? Personally, I would like them to say that I was a great husband, friend, and made a difference in people's lives. How about you, Gene?
I would like to hear that as a teacher I made a huge difference in the children of tomorrow.
And you, Jay?
Well, I guess I'd like to hear them say, look, he's moving. Hey, so Andy, I wanted to let you know that I'd be happy to help you with that home improvement project you have coming up. I am quite the handyman.
Oh, no, not after last summer.
What do you mean?
Well, you offered to paint the walls of my apartment. When I came in to check on you, I found you wearing 2 heavy parkas on a hot summer day.
Andy, I told you, the instructions on the can of paint said, for best results, put on 2 coats.
You amaze me.
Thank you.
That was not a compliment. Welcome back to the party on KIFG, where the beat goes on with Jay and Andy. Coming up next...
Andy? Oh, Andy? Sorry to interrupt, but your wife called and the cat died.
Jay, what is wrong with you? You don't break that kind of news directly. You first say the cat is on the roof, the next day the cat is injured, and on the 3rd day the cat died. That way it isn't such a shock.
Sorry. Apologize.
Did my wife have any other news?
Oh, yeah. Your grandma's on the roof.
Wait, what?
From 1986, here's Poison with Look What the Cat Dragged In. Hey, welcome back to the party on KIFG with Andy and Jay, where we bring you the hits every Friday.
So, Jay, what do you have there?
Well, Andy, I was just reading this story about a tough old cowboy from Texas who counseled his granddaughter that if she wanted to live a long life, the secret was to sprinkle a pinch of gunpowder on her oatmeal every morning.
That sounds crazy.
Well, it appears the granddaughter did this religiously until the age of 103 when she died.
No way. Let me read that. You're right. She left behind 14 children, 30 grandchildren, 45 great-grandchildren, and 25 great-great-grandchildren, and a 40-foot hole where the crematorium used to be.
I guess you could say she went out with a bang. So, Andy, would it be okay if I share something from my preacher's Sunday sermon?
Sure, go ahead.
A guy said to God, "God, is it true that to you a billion years is like a second?" God said, "Yes." The guy said, "God, is it true that to you $1 billion is like a penny?" God said, "Yes." The guy said, "God, can I have a penny?" God said, "Sure, just a second."
Heaven help me. Here's the Ozark Mountain Daredevils with If You Want to Get to Heaven.
From 1977, that's Meatloaf, Paradise by the Dashboard Light. Hey, life's a party, and we're the hosts. Welcome back to the party on KIFG with Andy and Jay. So, Andy, did I ever tell you about my grandfather?
I don't believe we have talked about him on the show.
I remember him saying, "When one door closes, another one opens."
You know, that's wise words of wisdom.
Yeah, he was a smart man, but a horrible cabinet maker.
And with that bit of nonsense out of the way, here's Lover Boy with Lovin' Every Minute of It. Jay, you left your computer password out for everyone to see again.
Oops, sorry about that.
This is kind of the long password. Mickey, Minnie, Pluto, Huey, Louie, Dewey, Donald, Goofy, Des Moines. Why is it so long?
Well, I was told that it had to be at least 8 characters long and include at least one capital. I mean, I should know. I'm in charge of it.
No, it's called IT. We are in so much trouble.
So, Andy, did I ever tell you about my Grandma Margaret?
You know, I don't remember you mentioning her before.
Well, she lives in New York City, and she turned 114 today.
Wow, that's amazing. What is the secret to her longevity?
Well, she attributes it to taking a walk at midnight every night.
Living in New York, isn't she concerned about the increase in muggings in recent years?
She said she was not and would continue mugging people as long as her health holds out.
So, Jay, do you mind if I ask you a question?
No, go for it.
Well, you've been married a long time. What's the secret of your long marriage?
Well, we take time to go to a restaurant 2 times a week. A little candlelight, dinner, soft music, and dancing. She goes Tuesdays, I go Fridays.
Why do I even bother?
Life's a party, and we're the hosts. Welcome back to the party on KIFG with Andy and Jay. So, Andy, did I ever tell you about my Uncle Ted?
No, I don't believe so.
Well, he's an avid golfer. The other day, Ted and his buddies were playing a big round of golf for $200. At the 18th green, Ted had a 10-foot putt to win the round and the $200. Now, as he was lining up his putt, a funeral procession started to pass by. Uncle Ted set down his putter, took off his hat, placed it over his chest, and waited for the funeral procession to pass. After it passed, he picked up the putter and returned to lining up his putt and completed it, thus winning the game and the money.
That was the most touching thing I have ever heard. I can't believe he stopped playing, possibly losing his concentration, to pay his respects.
Well, they had been married for 25 years.
It's time for a medical minute on KIFG.
Doctor, the woman in room 346 has woken up from her coma.
Excellent. Mrs. Jones was 3 months pregnant when she fell into a deep coma 6 months ago. Mrs. Jones, how are you feeling?
Fine, but how is my baby?
You had twins, a boy and a girl. They're both fine, and your brother named them for you.
No. Not my brother. He's an idiot. What did he name the girl?
Denise.
Oh, well, that's actually a nice name. What about the boy?
Nephew.
And that's been your medical minute on KIFG.
So, Andy, I had this weird dream last night.
What happened in your dream?
Well,
I should never have went camping with you two.
Don't blame me. I had no idea that Jay didn't actually know how to read a map.
Whatever, but here we are lost in this jungle.
hey guys, check this out. I found this cool-looking bottle.
Great, like that's helpful.
I'm going to clean it off. Whoa! Who are you?
I'm the genie of the bottle.
Really? I thought all genies were cute girls. You know, like in the TV show I Dream a Genie?
Well, we're not. I magically appear from a bottle, and that's your first thought? What an idiot. Where was I? Oh, I am the genie of the bottle, and I will grant each of you one wish.
I wish I was out of this jungle and back home.
Yeah, I wish the same.
And Jay, what do you wish?
I'm lonely. I wish my friends were back here.
Luther!
Hey, guys. Welcome to the jungle. Hey, yeah, sorry.
Jay, you sound a bit tired. I couldn't help but notice that you've been living at the radio station lately.
Yeah, I've been having some trouble at home with my wife.
Sorry to hear that. What's wrong?
I was having a nice meal with my wife the other night, and out of the blue, she asked if I would remarry if she died.
Well, what did you say?
Well, I told her I wasn't going to talk about that, but over the next few days, she was really insistent.
So what did you end up doing?
I told her yes.
What did she say?
She said, if you remarry, would you sell the house? Well, I told her no. I said it's a nice home and we would live here. Then she said, if you remarry, would you sell the bed? And again, I said no. I said it's a really comfortable bed and there's really no reason to get rid of it. Well, she said, you certainly wouldn't let her touch my golf clubs. Well, I said, no. She's left-handed.
And that explains why you're living at the radio station.
So, Andy, did I ever tell you about my younger brother?
No, I don't believe you have mentioned him before.
Well, we really don't talk much about him. He's kind of a family embarrassment.
Funny, I would have guessed that would have been you, but continue.
Well, you know, I never wanted to believe that my brother was stealing from his job as a road worker, but when I got home, all the signs were there. So, Andy, did I tell you about what happened to my buddy Jeff the other day?
No, I don't believe you have.
Well, Jeff walked into a bar after a long day at work and ordered a drink. As he sat there, mulling over his day, he hears a high-pitched voice say,
"That shirt looks great on you."
Well, Jeff looks around, sees nothing, and returns to his drink, thinking nothing more of it. But then a moment later, the voice returns, this time offering,
"You seem like a really cool guy."
Jeff looks around, sees nothing, returns to his drink, wondering if he should get checked out by a professional. Finally, when his nerves have cooled and he believes the voice is gone, he hears,
"I bet your parents are really proud of you."
Well, Jeff slammed down his drink and looks all around. Frustrated and finding no possible source of the voice, he calls over the bartender. He says, "Hey, barkeep, what's that voice I keep hearing?" "Oh, those are the peanuts. They're complimentary."
It's time for Monster Rock on KIFG.
Welcome to Monster Rock on KIFG 95.3 FM, 1510 AM in spooky Iowa Falls.
Hold it! Who are you? And where's Jay?
I'm your co-host, DJ Track. And Jay, well, he's feeling a bit drained today. Whoa, Jay drinks way too much soda.
It's time for a special edition of Cook's Corner with Jay Luther. In addition to Jay's many talents, few know that he is a talented chef. Today, he will be sharing one of his secret recipes.
Hey, thanks, Andy. Now, this recipe is a family favorite. It's microwavable pizza rolls. Place rolls in a single layer on a microwavable plate. Microwave on high 1 minute to minute 15 for one serving, approximately 6 rolls. 2 minutes to 2 minutes 40 seconds for 2 servings. Yeah, around 12 rolls. Let stand 2 minutes to complete cooking. Now, this step is very important. Do not, I repeat, do not leave microwave unattended while cooking product. Enjoy.
This has been a special edition of Cook's Corner with Jay Luther. For a copy of this recipe, check the back of your pizza roll box.
From 1983, Ozzy Osbourne, Bark at the Moon, right here on KIFG. Jay Luther, Jay Luther, Andy Ferguson, hanging with you on a Friday afternoon. Hope you're enjoying all the great tunes.
You're listening to Monster Rock on KIFG, and with me in the studio is the Invisible Man. How do I know you're invisible? You're completely dressed from head to toe.
Sorry, let me remove my clothes and you'll see that I'm now invisible.
No, you're not. You're naked.
No, I'm invisible.
No, you're naked, and you should get that mole looked at. Security!